Alright, Jim Davis back again. So that last draft ended a little bit poorly. So, what's one to do it's Christmas Eve. Jump right back in. I get knocked down, but they get up again, or whatever that stupid song is. Whatever. Let's just do this. I'm sick. It's Christmas. Let's have some fun. Alright, so we're running it back. In case you didn't see the last video for some strange reason, we were a artifact sort of tinker deck. And we played against. We were also a combo deck with Brain Freeze, and our opponent had multiple Eldrazi in his deck, and we lost a somewhat frustrating match. So now we're back at it, and we open our pack, and what do we have? Not too much. These are some of the cards, by the way, that I think that just don't belong in a cube at all. Cards like Bloodline Keeper. This is a card that, like, yeah, it's great and limited, cool. It's a 4-mana do-nothing creature that just never saw any constructed play for the most part. It's very slow. If you can't kill it, you just kind of maybe die to it, but if you just bolt it, it's terrible. Just, I don't know. Zealous Conscripts as well. Firemane Angel. These are all just, like, really junky mid-range cards that just take away from the picks that you'd want to have a nice good deck from. But whatever. I digress. So, this pack we're looking at, Swords of Plowshares being very good. Snapcaster is very good, but not amazing. It's very, very good. Misty Rainforest is a good speculation pick. Wild Nacatl. We're just going to take Swords of Plowshares. Just by far the best card. And I think that's a very reasonable first pick. Alright, so now last draft we went a pretty wacky route. We went with the crazy combo deck. We had a Storm card in our deck. We had Upheaval. We had Tolarian Academy. We had Draw 7s. We had all sorts of crazy stuff. This draft, let's take a look and see what we want to do. Swords of Plowshares is obviously a very open-ended card, just a very good removal spell. You can play it in aggressive decks, control decks, anywhere in between. So we're looking at this pack. Inferno Titan is an extremely powerful card. It's one of the better finishers you can have. Although I guess it's a little worse in this cube than it is in my cube, because again, the mana curves are higher. You're having to deal with bigger, more mid-rangey threats, which it isn't as good as dealing with. Obviously, it's very good against smaller creature decks. Sorin's very good. Planeswalkers are also very good in this cube, which there's just so many of them. And Metamorph is good, too. I'm going to take the Planeswalker here. I think that Planeswalkers are very powerful. It's kind of a fun avenue to take. And, oh boy, we got past the Fact or Fiction third pick. This pack must have been good. Fact or Fiction is a card that makes me really happy. We have a Baneslayer Angel, which is definitely the poster child for the if you can't kill me, I win the game in 2 turns. We have a Vraska. If you wanted to go the kind of the control Planeswalkers route, that's pretty fun. So the only cards I'm really considering taking here are Fact or Fiction, Baneslayer, and Vraska. Winter Orb is very, very good, but we're not that aggressive. Birthing Pod's sweet if you make it work, but it's difficult to make work. A lot of these cards are just like Mogwar Marshal, even though I love Mogwar Marshal, it's not really, there aren't many Goblin Matrons and Goblin War Chiefs in this cube. Nighthawks M, Enrique M, blah, blah, blah. Fact or Fiction of Vraska. I think we're going to have a little fun. Let's draft the Planeswalker deck. I'm going to take the Vraska over the Fact or Fiction. That's probably wrong, but again, one of the fun things about Cube is it's fun. You want to kind of build a certain deck, have a good time, sort of find little niche strategies, and so on and so forth. Now, for our Planeswalker control deck that we just decided to build, Wrath effects are going to be very important. That miscalculation. God, if we had taken Snapcaster, Fact or Fiction, miscalculation. Whew, boy. But, yeah, so Wrath effects are very important because they obviously don't hit our Planeswalkers, hit creatures. There are a lot of mid-rangey creatures to Wrath in this cube. Titan's good, but it's blue. Hermit would be very good with our Sorin, but it's not really. It's kind of a clunky card. If you have opposition and stuff like that, it's good, but we're just going to take the Rout. Rout is not the best Wrath effect, but it's good enough for our purposes. Alright, so we have Godless Shrine, Elesh Norn, Thoughtseize, Wall of Blossom are all very, very reasonable picks. As I said in the last video, mana fixing is extremely important, and having the right mana to cast your spells basically dictates what spells you can actually cast. Thoughtseize is very good, but it's better in a more aggressive deck. Elshnorn is just kind of good in Reanimator. It's kind of just a weird card. Wall Blossoms is very good, and would be very good in a deck like this, helping to defend our Planeswalkers, draw some cards. Obviously, there's not much card draw in green, white, black. I think we're going to take the Wall Blossoms here. This might be a little iffy. The dual end's obviously very good. We don't want this. It's lost each of this. We're taking the Wall Blossoms. Okay. Now, Necrotal's okay. The double cost is not great. We already have double whites. We probably are going to want to have green mana early because we're going to be playing some sort of ramp effects, and therefore having double black is not a great thing. Caves of Kelos is a fixer, not a very good one. Stomp Howler is a pretty good sort of mid-rangey answer. I think we're going to take the land in this scenario. None of these are cards I'd really be happy playing. We're always going to play the land. And one of the things, too, with cube drafts is it's really not necessary to end a cube draft with 30 playables. You want to make sure you have as many mana-fixing lands as possible, and your mana base is as good as it possibly can be. Alright, so now we're presented with a tooth and nail. Presented with a tooth and nail, excuse me. Drag Manglers in our colors, but obviously not what we want to be doing. Razorman Masticores, all the Masticores kind of suck, to be perfectly honest. Razorman Masticores might be the worst of them. It's just, Mesmeric Fiend's a good sideboard card. Here's the point where we're going to take the big open-ended pick. I think Tooth and Nail is powerful enough where we might want to change what we're doing to accommodate it. Now we get another cool Planeswalker. Ooh boy. We might be getting into spicy range here. The only other cards we would consider playing are Slaughter Pact and the Llanowar Wastes. But this really fits our kind of Planeswalker control theme that we, for some reason, just spawn out of nowhere. Which is the funnest part of cube drafting, is to just draft a deck. Like, you just go in on this deck that you decide you're going to build, and that makes it really, really fun. So we're going to take the Xenagos here. This is a very, very difficult pick to defend, but this just looks fun to me. Alright, so now Johnny's a Planeswalker, but not a very good one in our deck. We don't want any of these cards. Fireman Angel's not great. I mean, it's okay. I definitely don't think we want a Johnny in our deck. It's not really doing anything except for the ultimate. I wish this was an on-kill or signet. It literally could be anything but blue would be ours. We're going to take Fireman Angel here. It kind of stinks, but whatever. Scholar is not going to be very good in our deck. Gatekeeper is not going to be castable. Masticores suck. Green Sun Zenith is a good speculative pick where if we pick up, say, a Birds of Paradise and a Tarmogoyf, that means Green Sun Zenith is either a 2-mana Birds of Paradise, a 3-mana Wall Blossoms, or a 3-mana Tarmogoyf. They're all very, very reasonable things. So we're going to take the Zenith. Speculate a little bit. This is a card that I hate. Another just big, dopey, dumb card. We're probably not playing this card. Or Birthing Pod. Winter Orb is pretty good against us. We're just tempted to take the Winter Orb. It's possible we could transform into some sort of Birthing Pod deck, but I'm going to cut the Winter Orb. Hermit's a pretty easy pick here. Adds another Zenith target. It's a good amount of blockers. Godless Shrine coming back is pretty huge. So that's sweet. Earthquake's not a bad sweep brain, guys. It's not going to be good. So, alright. So, clearly we're entering the realm of highly amusing 4-color Planeswalker deck that is definitely going to look like absolute crap and probably 3-0. So, alright. So, we open Sphinx's Revelation. Obviously, we can't cast it. We have 2 bounce lands. It'd be cool if one of these tables. That would be nice. We have a Day of Judgment, which is a good Wrath effect. And Burial Rites is not really where we're at. Gilded Lotus, it also isn't really where we're at in this deck. We're topping out on about 5 mana. So the extra mana is not going to help us. The mana fixing is nice, but we we would much prefer a Coalition Relic. In fact, Coalition Relic would be the absolute perfect card for this deck. So, if Santa, if you're listening, Coalition Relic is on the list at the top. I can't promise I've been nice, but it is what it is. So we're going to take this Day of Judgment here. Keep the Wrath effects going. Basically, we're going to have Wrath effects against creature decks, and we're going to have Planeswalkers against control decks. That's what we're going to do. So let's get this Wrath going. The one thing to notice is that we're playing Wraths. We're not going to really want to play creature-based accelerators. So just the thing to be aware of. Ooh, boy. Alright, so Lotus Cobra, even though I just said we shouldn't play creature-based accelerators, is pretty ideal for our deck. It's going to fix our mana. It's going to cast our 4-drop Planeswalkers. Wooded Foothills also, we really like that. Boros Garrison too is another one. So our mana fixing is going to be there. We need to make sure that our curve works out and that we can cast our spells. So look right now, it looks like we're going to be base green, white, splashing red and black, which is fun. So Lotus Cobra is going to be it. Even if we just use him, cast a Walker on turn 3 and then Wrath on turn 4, I'm totally cool with that. So Lotus Cobra is going to be in the deck. Oh my lord. Alright, so I saw Garruk and I was like super stoked because like we're the multicolor Planeswalker deck. But there's a Mox Pearl and a Mox Jet in the pack, which is just ludicrous. We're going to take the Pearl because white is a more important color for us, and we're going to pass these really good cards because that's what we have to do. Throw the Thragtusk, another bounce land. We don't love bounce lands, but they're going to be fine in this deck because we need the fixing. But yeah, so say goodbye to Garruk. I think you might prefer the other Garruk in this deck because it's easier to cast anyway, so we'll take our 3rd pick Mox Pearl and pass a 4th pick Mox Jet to someone. Merry Christmas. Ooh, I love this card. It's going to be hard to cast though, so we're not going to play that card. But alright, Verdant Catacombs here is the pick. It's an on-color fetch land. So is Arid Mesa. Whew. Both on-color fetch lands. Right now we only have a Godless Shrine, which they can both get. This is just like a total toss-up. I mean, we're mainly green splashing black, mainly white splashing red. Green might be a little more important, so I think we're going to take the Verdant Catacombs, but who knows. Alright, Silencia Signet is where we are at. This is... Sylvan Library is very good too, but the Signet is just too important. We need to fix our mana and cast our spells, and that's the end of the story. So we're going to take the Signet. Sylvan Library is obviously very good, but that's just what we got to do. We got to recognize we're playing 4 colors, and our fixing is very important. And hopefully we don't play against this Geist of St. Draft. Actually, I guess we have Wrath, so... This card's cool, too. Just talk about this for a second. This card, I played with this card once or twice already. It's been very, very good. I think this card, if it literally was just white, no X, put target non-land permanent on top of their opponent's library, instant, it would be very good. So the fact that it has the X to scale, too, is really, really good. So, take our Signet. Okay. Birds of Paradise, Kitchen Finks, Vindicate. Again, our Birds of Paradise is not going to play very well with our Wrath effects. We already have a Mox and a Signet. Kitchen Finks, however, is really, really good as far as a deterrent for aggressive decks. It can attack well, it gains life. It basically does everything you've ever wanted it to do. It's also fine with our Wraths and pretty easy to cast. So we're definitely going to take the Finks here. Vindicate's also very good, clearly, but it's in our splash color. I think that we'd rather have the better stall card. So Finks it is. Alright. Hot damn. We would love all 3 of these cards. Again, we're going to deprioritize our creature-based acceleration due to our Wraths. Bloodbraid Elf is obviously good, but he's not really that great in this deck, to be honest. I mean, we're cascading into, like, what, a Zenith or 0, you know, so, or a Mox, like, whatever. So, we're taking the Bayou here. Let's get this mana base up and running. Obviously, Stomping Ground would be good too, but Bayou is definitely a better dual land, clearly. So we're going to hit that. And to be honest, we could easily table a good card of this back too. So Broodmate Dragon. That's a good topper for our 10 color deck. Also Liliana Vess. Somewhat hard to cast being double black. But it's a Planeswalker, and we are the 4-color Planeswalker deck. How's our mana? We do have a lot of fixing for black. You know, sometimes it's Christmas time, it's Christmas Eve, you're cube drafting on Moto, and you gotta understand when you're the 4-color Planeswalker deck, you're just the 4-color Planeswalker deck. She's in. Let's see. The rest, this card's really good against us. Whew. We definitely can't beat that card. That's Sword Splashers. Rager's no good. We're gonna take our land here. Get our mana base going. Just be completely blown out by Wasteland or Plowlander. Let's get the mana going. This is a card that I like. If we were more red and able to cast this card would actually be sweet in our deck. Casting like turn 2 Xenagoses and turn 3 Verascas, but we're not. So we're going to take our Boros Garrison and be happy with it. Oh, Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. How about that? We'll just take a second and soak that in. Excellent. We didn't want a 3rd bounce land anyway, and Battlefield Forge sucks. Garrick, welcome to the squad. Viper's pretty hard to cast. This is one of my favorite cards, to be honest, but more so in like Land or Elf-based green aggressive decks. We'll take the Hermit here, just for some defense. And it's just easier to cast. You can morph it and so on. Wow. Alright, not playing blue. We're going to take the Beast in here. Again, we don't want the 1 mana green only Accelerator. And End Step Beast Within untap route is pretty good. Bone Shredder is fine for our purposes. Last pick, Bloodbraid Elf. Sure. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Planeswalkers for our 4-color Christmas time Planeswalker deck. And we opened 2 more. And one of them is very good in our deck. So we are going to Elspeth here. There are good cards in this pack. Ajani is, again, the Ajanis are not really Planeswalkers you want to be playing, except for Ajani Vengeant, if you're listening, buddy. We would love to have you on the squad. Elspeth is a pretty clear pick here. It's a very good Planeswalker, excellent board presence, and yeah. There's that Heartbeat. Heartbeat just made me want him for the last draft, but Elspeth joins the squad. Oh boy. If that wasn't enough, we're adding Big Papa to the squad and leaving these 2 guys along the side. We don't care about Jace. We want Karn. Again, we really want to hit like another Signet and maybe spike another 3rd pick Mox to get us off the ground. But we've got some serious Planeswalker late game here. So, welcome to the squad, buddy. It's more lands too. Alright, so this is a Planeswalker, but it's a little outside of our range. I think Karn is short up our 7+ mana Planeswalker slot. Arbor Elf ain't doing much for us. Thoran Dynamo isn't either. Again, we're going to stop at like 5 or 6 mana anyway. All of this is insane against us. Good God, that card's good against us. But whatever. We're going to take Scavenging Goose here. Just a good early drop. You can gain some life, block some stuff. Stall, we can Zenith for it. It's fine. Really want some more lands though. I mean, I would like to take like 5 more lands in this remaining pack. We can start clearing out our deck here. We're not playing Earthquake. So we're really just splashing the red off of Boros Garrison and nothing else. For Xenagos, we could just be junk. I don't even know. It's possibly might end up just junk. Because we have plenty of Planeswalkers that aren't red. We have very few red sources. That's less fun. I kind of said I wanted to be the 4-color Planeswalker deck. Bloodbird Elf's pretty bad. The Hermits aren't great. Tooth and Nail's not making the deck. Fireman Angel sucks. Yeah, so basically just Xenagos right now. We obviously don't want Domri because we have no creatures. Pyroclasm would be pretty good, but we already have 2 Wraths. Toxic Deluge might be good as well, but we want the Signet here. We want to just get our Planeswalkers in play as soon as possible. Phyrexian Arena is very, very good, but this deck is just too hard to cast that. Another Planeswalker. There are so many Planeswalkers in this cube. It's literally unbelievable. However, this one kind of sucks for us. So we're going to take Voice of Resurgence here. It's a really good blocker. Again, makes our Zenith really good. Good against control decks. I don't think I need to explain to you guys why Voice of Resurgence is good. So I'm just going to stop talking and take it. The anti-our deck. Yeah, it's looking more and more like we're probably not going to play the red, which kind of stinks. But I guess being junk Planeswalkers with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Planeswalkers is still fairly reasonable. Let's see. Here we want Regrowth, or one of these two. We can cut one of the 2 Planeswalker hate cards. Regrowth seems pretty good. I'm happy with that. There are so many Planeswalkers in this cube. This is another thing. To be honest, I actually disagree with this design aspect of the cube very much as well. I think that having too many Planeswalkers is really stupid. And there's just so many. But, alright, so here we got Abrupt Decay or Overgrown Tomb. What's counterplayables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 with the Signets. 21 with Karn. I'm taking the land here. This Decay is good, but I'm much more concerned with being able to cast my spells. So the land enters. However, here we're gonna have that problem, so we can just take Maelstrom Pulse. Hero Bladehold is obviously very good, but it doesn't really fit the theme of our deck, and I don't even like the card very much. We're gonna take Maelstrom Pulse. It's a versatile removal spell. It's good against our Planeswalkers. And Hero it's double white. It doesn't play with our Wraths. Doesn't play with anything we have. I understand it's really, really good, but I just don't care, to be perfectly honest. Merry Christmas to me. Johnny is a Planeswalker. Knight of the Reliquary is not a Planeswalker. Let's get some costs here. We only have 7 creatures, but we do have a lot of things that make creatures. Knight is also an accelerator. We have no fetch land, surprisingly. Yeah, we're just going to take the Knight. I mean, maybe that's against the theme of the deck, but whatever. We don't really want any of these cards. We'll take Fleecebane Lion in case we need to take an aggressive stance versus some combo deck or something. For some reason. Null Rod turns off our Signets. Nicol Bolas is extremely uncastable. Throne is good against control decks. All Us is insane against us, but that's not going to happen. We'll just take Thrun in case we need it against control deck. Take Brushland. Big Papa Garrick isn't doing much for us. What's the ultimate? It's not even good. Ulamog or Kami. We'll take Kami, I guess we need it. Chaos Warp kills our Planeswalkers. Torch Fiend. Alright, so it looks like for the most part we are no longer, as much as it pains me to say, the 4-color Planeswalker deck. We're only 3. So I apologize to everyone if I misled you. I'm just as disappointed as you are. But our deck's still pretty fun. So Xenagos, we've had some good times. I understand you're red and green, that's very Christmassy, but we're just going to be junk. So we got, don't want to play the Hermit. Garrick, of course. I do not want a main deck Thrun. This Hermit I'm okay with playing. No Tooth and Nail. Definitely playing Zenith. Pulse, Vraska, no red, Sorin, no lion, voice, knight, kitchen finks, bone shredder, swords of plowshares, no kami, we need a wrath, we need an Elspeth, we need another wrath, we need 2 signets, and 22 cards. That Xenagos is just calling out to us, but we literally have almost no way to cast it. We have a Boros Garrison and a Lotus Cobra. Oh, Karn. Whew, that was close. Alright, so 3 colors it is. This is a deck. Typically I say I like to play... Yeah, we're playing 16 lands. So we need to add 1 more card. I think that Ajani could have made our deck, given that we have Elspeth, Hermit, and other Hermit. I think we're going to play our Thrun. I think that the Thrun is obviously good against control decks. It's a good blocker. You can play it on turn 4. It can actually regenerate through a Day of Judgment, which is cool. It's either that, Kami, or Hermit. Or a Lion. Lion's just a Watch Wolf, basically. Yeah, I'm cool with this. Alright, so... Cool. So our deck's pretty sweet. I think it's actually... I know we were just kind of like having fun and drafting Planeswalkers and stuff, but this deck actually seems pretty ideally suited for the Magic Online cube. As I was saying, the Moto cube is pretty mid-rangey, and this deck is a mid-range monster. We have 5 Planeswalkers, 6 Planeswalkers, sorry. We have some good mid-rangey creatures, some removal spells, some acceleration. Our deck is not very robust, per se. Or, I mean, robust isn't the right word. Isn't very... whatever. Yeah, sure. Lean is the word I was looking for. Our deck is not very lean. It actually is robust. But that doesn't really matter, because the Moto cube is not extremely unforgiving. And we're just going to cast all our spells and crush everybody. So we got by color, mostly green. The black's a pretty light splash. We have lots of fixing, so we're not really worried about any sort of problems with that. Black, white, green, black. We have Bayou, Tomb, Godless Shrine, Fetch Land. So we're in excellent shape for that. Actually going to play 1 less swamp. Given that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black sources already, I think 8 is plenty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe 9 green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 white. That's too many. So we're gonna do 1 more. Actually, that's fine. Yeah, we'll do this and this. That looks. Oh, it miscounted. The Mox. That would have been really, really embarrassing to have a Mox Pearl in my sideboard. Okay. Greens. I think I want to have 1 more green, given that it's a Mox Pearl. There we go. So that's a pretty sweet deck. It's fun too. Yeah. So sorry, buddy. I apologize, but next time, I promise. Going in.